The buzz around artificial intelligence is it's everywhere. It feels like it's going to remake every single industry. But look, behind all those headlines, there's a really quiet, really dramatic shift happening in how companies are actually spending their money on tech. It's a story of incredible excitement, meaning a very harsh financial reality. So let's break down what's really going on.
Right? This has to be the multi-trillion-dollar question. We're being told that AI is the biggest tech revolution of our lifetimes. So you'd think, naturally, that IT budgets would just be exploding. But what if they're not? What if this entire AI revolution isn't being funded with new money, but by just moving old money around?
And this slide, this really gets to the heart of the conflict. For 9 straight quarters, that's over 2 years, generative AI has been the #1 priority for chief information officers. And yet, would you look at that? Total IT budget growth is flat. It's actually expected to slip to 3.4% in 2026. This is what we're calling the AI paradox. Massive, massive hype, but absolutely no new money.
So here's the most important thing to get. We are not in one of those rising tide lifts all boats situations. Not at all. The tech budget pie isn't getting any bigger to make room for AI. Instead, what's happening is this fierce internal battle. To fund the future, to fund AI, companies are being forced to cut from somewhere else. It has become a zero-sum game. And this battle for the slices of the pie, well, it creates this fascinating and honestly pretty brutal pattern that this research calls the K-shaped budget. And understanding this shape, well, it's the key to figuring out who's going to win and who's going to lose in this new AI era. Wow, this one image just brilliantly tells the entire story. You see that split? That's the K. The top arm, that's AI and software just rocketing up 125%. But the bottom arm, that's legacy hardware, and it is falling off a cliff, down 60%. This isn't some gentle shift, you guys. This is a violent divergence between the tech of the future and the tech of the past.
So you might be asking, where's the money for that soaring top line coming from? Well, it's coming from right here. A third of CIOs are actually decreasing hiring. And look at hardware spending growth, it's been slashed to historic lows of just 1%. Companies are literally funding their future by cannibalizing their present. It is the ultimate do more with less mandate in real time.
Okay, so this brings us to a huge misconception in the market right now. When the AI boom first started, the common wisdom was that, the big old software companies would be the losers, that they'd get disrupted by all these nimble startups. But the data on where the money is actually going tells a completely different and for a lot of people, a very, very surprising story. This chart right here, this is the turning point of our whole explainer. Just take a second to look at it. For years and years, spending on software and hardware, they kind of moved together. That link, it's now completely shattered. Software is the only asset class that is accelerating into 2026. While hardware is plummeting, software is climbing. The market thought software would be a victim of AI, but it turns out it's the primary beneficiary of this great reallocation. But listen, not all software is created equal. CIOs are being super specific with their choices. On the vulnerable list, you've got things that can be delayed or maybe optimized. Think consulting, physical data centers, even some basic CRM apps. But on the other side, some budgets are a fortress. Security is just non-negotiable. That's mission critical. And AI and process automation, that's strategic critical. That's the key to all future growth. These budgets are basically ironclad. And this just drives that point home visually. You can literally see the money moving from the categories on the left, the share donors, to the categories on the right, the share gainers. It's like a transfer of wealth happening inside every major IT budget in the world right now. So this historic reallocation, it's creating a whole new set of champions. Let's meet the specific companies that are really set to dominate this new landscape, which is all about platforms, data, and maybe most importantly, workflows. Everything in AI really starts with the cloud. AI models need just massive amounts of data, and that creates this phenomenon called data gravity. It just pulls more and more of a company's operations into the cloud to be closer to where the data lives. And right now, Microsoft Azure is the undisputed center of that gravity, commanding a staggering 53% of the market. And Microsoft is leveraging that dominance perfectly. A plus 35% net score for Gen AI spend share, that is just unheard of. And with 92% of CIOs expecting to use its products, adoption is about to explode. Why? Because when things are uncertain, CIOs prefer to buy from the vendors they already know and trust. They consolidate, and Microsoft is the ultimate consolidator. But it's not just about the cloud giants. There's a whole new tier of champions emerging. And they reveal this crucial trend that I think the market is underestimating. Enterprises don't just buy raw AI, they buy it embedded in the applications they already use every day. This creates a powerful new stack. You've got Snowflake for the data, Salesforce for the customer-facing AI apps, and ServiceNow for all the internal workflows that tie it all together.
Okay, let's zoom in on ServiceNow for a second, because its role is kind of the hidden key to this entire reallocation. See, AI doesn't create value in a vacuum. It has to be connected to real business processes. That's workflow. ServiceNow is the platform that automates and manages all those workflows, basically acting as the central nervous system for the entire company. It's the critical layer that connects all these new AI tools to the actual work being done, which makes it, arguably, the most indispensable platform in this new era.
So after seeing all this data, what's the big takeaway, right? How do you make sense of this new world? Let's distill it all down into a clear, actionable playbook. The winners versus the donors of the great reallocation. And here it is. This brilliantly illustrates the two sides of that K-shaped budget. The share gainers are the software and platform giants we've been talking about. Microsoft, Snowflake, ServiceNow, and Amazon's AWS, they're the ones capturing all the dollars being reallocated. And the share donors? Well, that's the legacy hardware companies like Dell and HPE, and those with stalling cloud adoption. The money is flowing directly away from them and to the gainers. It's that simple.
So if there's one thing you take away from our entire explainer, it's right here on this final slide. For years, growth in the tech sector, it just felt inevitable. A rising tide lifted all boats. That time is gone. We are now in a new era, and it's defined by a ruthless, strategic, and zero-sum reallocation. The question is no longer if tech spending will grow, but who will win the fight for the biggest slice of a pie that's no longer getting bigger.